Nancy Pelosi is the queen of the stock market, but not in a good way. Here's what I mean. Warren Buffett has been investing his whole life. So the way that he makes his money is by learning about investments, talking to people about companies, and has become an absolute genius when evaluating businesses.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle.
Nancy Pelosi, on the other hand, has been a politician for 40 plus years of her life. So that's where the majority of her wealth comes from, right? Well, if you thought that, you would be absolutely wrong.
No way. We got you. Not a chance.
In her tenure being a politician, she has made $200,000 a year, which means she's roughly made about $5 million, give or take a few hundred thousand.
But you guys are getting paid?
Which is still a lot of money for someone that's been in politics. But what if I told you that she has made over $100 million, nearly close to $200 million, in a less legal way? But before we talk about that, hi, my name is Rue. I've been an investor in the market since 2009, and I have no course, no seminar to sell you. And the whole point of this channel is to make you richer than you were yesterday. If you want to subscribe, be my guest. And I don't have an exact posting schedule. I just post whenever I create a good piece of content that I like to put out. So if you want to be notified when that comes out, make sure to hit the bell. But without further ado, let's talk about Nancy Pelosi's $100+ million net worth. And that's all because of a thing called
these nuts. Got him!
No, not that. She has made $100+ million from the stock market. But how did this politician get so good at picking stocks? I mean, over the last few years, she has been better at picking stocks than Warren Buffett himself. And that makes me scratch my head and think,
How is that even possible?
she's just a politician and Warren Buffett has been picking stocks his entire life. Well, this journey starts back in 2019, where she was appointed as a speaker for the United States House of Representatives, which got her in some very, very important meetings that were held behind closed doors. That is where the big stuff happens. And you might be wondering, what are the big things that happen behind these closed doors? Well, there's a lot of talk about big bills that are going to be pushed into law, and because of her ability to sit at that dinner table, she gets an insider perspective on what might get passed and what might not, which allows her to make some very, very big financial decisions at home with her family, which is how she has made millions and millions of dollars. Now, if you don't believe me, here's the proof. The first example is when her family bought Apple and Nvidia stock. And this was weeks and even months before the Senate had intended to vote on what's called the CHIPS Act, which was a bill that was formed to essentially help the semiconductor business in the United States. This bill was gonna provide billions and billions of dollars.
$100 billion.
To semiconductor companies in the form of subsidies and tax credits. This bill was worth $52 billion. That's with a B. And can you guess which of the chip manufacturers were gonna benefit the most from this bill? That's right, Nvidia and Apple. Obviously, it would help other chip manufacturers as well, like Intel or Micron Technologies, but it really comes to show you how much she knew about this bill, because not only did this bill go through Joe Biden's office, and on August 9th, this bill became law. And that was just one example of how Nancy Pelosi has rigged the stock market in the past. Another bill that she benefited from very, very recently was one that was targeting at Visa and MasterCard. Essentially, it was a bill that was targeting those companies because they were kind of monopolizing the merchant and the payment processor space. And this bill would help bring in some of that competition from other companies by allowing merchants, essentially any business that already takes Visa and MasterCard, to send the credit card transactions that were happening on those networks to instead use third-party networks, whichever ones that they prefer to use. And since MasterCard and Visa make a lot of their money through those transactions, this would obviously impact their business, right? And Nancy Pelosi knew this, and because her and her family were long-term investors at Visa, after she saw that this bill might get pushed into law, she had sold all of her shares of Visa.
That's suspicious.
In fact, they sold their shares of Visa days before this bill even came into the public light, even though they held this stock for years. Kind of odd, don't you think?
That's weird.
Now, I'm not here to say that she was using insider information and she should go to prison for her acts of insider trading, but here's what she had to say on the matter.
When I go to jail, I'm going to be happy.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Even she is okay with going to jail for her behavior because she knew she was wrong. Ah, how I wish this was true. But that was a different interview because when she was actually questioned about her insider trading and her husband's activity in the stock market, this is what she actually had to say about the matter.
In the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information you've received from you?
No, absolutely not. Okay.
Liar, liar, plants for hire.
It's pants on fire, Patrick.
Well, you would know.
But you tell me, would you trust this face with telling the truth? I mean, I wasn't gonna say anything, but she does kind of look like my favorite fictional character, Voldemort. And I know, the evidence is pretty compelling. And you might be wondering, how is this not insider information? I mean, if you weren't in politics and you were on Wall Street, or maybe you were just a regular person and you did this exact same thing that Pelosi did, you would likely get into a lot of trouble.
They put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing.
So the question is, why are they allowed to do this? Are they above the law? And that's a great question to ask. And luckily for us, the smaller guys, this thing might not be around for very long. You see, there's a new bill that's being introduced called the Bipartisan Ban on Congressional Stock Ownership, which would essentially ban the ability for any politician or congressperson and their spouses to trade stocks.
Right to jail, right away.
And this might be the bill that would fix this entire problem. And it sounds great, doesn't it? No more trading of insider information by politicians, but this might just be a fairy tale because to get a bill passed, it has to go through committee. Then while it's in committee, it can be debated and amended again. And so even if it goes through committee, it has to go through the House, which, as you know, she currently is a speaker of. Even when she steps down, she'll probably still be a part and have a big voice in the House of Congress. So, is it likely to get passed while she's the speaker? Probably not. Although I truly hope that it does, because if we can't insider trade and Wall Street can't insider trade, why can our politicians? But even though you might not agree with the ability to insider trade for politicians, it doesn't mean that you can't profit from the politicians' moves. In fact, some people on Wall Street bets have been doing this very thing and have made a pretty penny doing so. I mean, if you can't beat them, join them, am I right? But you let me know what you think. Is it fair that politicians get a big juicy salary no matter if the economy is up or down, and then they can use the information that they learn at their job to take that money and tell their friends, their family, and even trade themselves based off of what's going to get passed or not? Is it crooked behavior or should it be allowed? You let me know. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to know what the mega wealthy are investing in, check out this playlist here. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.